Welcome to the Dawgs Table. I'm one of your hosts, Craig Fountain, here with Ryan Angelo. How you doing tonight, Ryan?
I'm good, buddy. Big news today, huh?
Very big news. We are certainly going to get into Deshaun Watson news that came out today regarding his settlements for his civil lawsuits. Before we get started, though, if you are new here, we are a Cleveland Browns roundtable discussion show that anybody can join. We will be posting a link in the comments here at some point shortly, and you can join the show. You can ask us questions. You can join on camera here with us, just like calling into a radio show, but it's visual. You're on video. So we'll post that link in the comments here shortly. We can also interact with your comments. So if you leave us a comment like Running Bald Man here, welcome to the show and appreciate you joining. We can display and interact with your comments as well. We are brought to you tonight by Labatt Blue Light and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. We are part of Team Big Play. You can find us anywhere Big Play is found. Craig, thanks for joining the show. We appreciate you coming on to talk with us. Ryan, can you hear me all right? I'm getting a little Wi-Fi icon. I'm wondering if my connection's real sharp here.
Yeah, you kind of crackled a couple times there, but you're good.
All right, guys, let us know in the comments that if anytime we're having any technical difficulties. We are live. So the only way we know is if you tell us. Think I have that Brutus that Ryan has in his live shots. When are you doing another hat order? 1 second on that, Craig. Big Kevin Sports, thanks for joining the show. Hello to DXRK. Craig's talking about our some merch that we have, and we did a hat order. These are some pretty sharp looking hats.
Where's my hat?
Sorry, my camera's mirrored. What's that?
Where's my hat, Craig?
One of these two is yours. They just showed up,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I will be getting that to you. Some of you others that ordered, they are in the mail. Yeah, great hat, Craig. I will let you know next time we are doing a hat order. If anybody else would want to order one, don't hesitate to get a hold of us. They are custom made, so we do pre-order those and get an order together. We can't stock those. So again, everybody, if you're new here, I see our viewer counts going up. We are a Cleveland Browns roundtable discussion show brought to you by Labatt Blue Light and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. We're part of Team Big Play. And all right, Ryan, the big news today. What did we find out?
Bombshell. Deshaun Watson has settled 20, count it, 20 out of the 24 cases. Baby, big news. I said this when Busby got the Texans involved, that this was going to force some changes in this situation. And boy, were we right. You involve the NFL, you involve a franchise, you're involved in the NFL, and it makes things a lot more difficult for the NFL to put their head in the sand. So it definitely sped the process up. I think that played a huge part in it. I think that this is a handshake deal between Watson and the NFL that are saying, hey, listen, you need to get rid of these cases. If you want to play football this year, this is what you have to do. I will not be shocked to see a settlement agreement as far as between Watson and the league on a suspension of some sort. I'm still sticking with my guns. 6 to 8 games, I think, is what it's going to be. I've said that pretty much throughout the whole process. But man, what a bombshell today! Definitely wasn't expecting it, and I think it's good news for the Browns, and I think it's good news for him playing this year.
So there was more lawsuits filed against Deshaun Watson over the past few weeks. Why are we calling it 20 out of 24? Weren't we up to 26? Am I missing something here?
I don't know, because that's what everything that's been reported, and I actually thought about that myself when I seen it. I'm not 100% sure. I'm wondering if there's something going on with the two newest ones. I don't know, but that's what's all been reported so far.
All right, so here's a question based on some of the comments that you had said, and then I can of course give my take on this as well. According to Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland Playing Dealer, the NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy told her that the development today has no impact on the collectively bargained disciplinary process rather. So You're saying that's a bunch of bullshit, basically.
Absolutely. I mean, come on. Everybody knows how the league works. I would not be surprised if the Browns have been in the thick of this. The back office has been in the thick of this whole time. I'm sure that they've been informed. I'm sure they're probably talking to somebody in the NFL office. I don't see it that this is something that's going to come down and they're not working together on it. I've said it the whole time that there's just so much optics that's involved with this situation and these cases that I couldn't see how the NFL was just going to sit by and just let this play out. I had a feeling that the settlement was going to happen between him and the league, and I won't be shocked if it's maybe even a little bit larger, like you had said on Twitter, maybe a little bit larger of a suspension initially, and then it gets backed off of. But like I said, I'm still sick with 6 to 8 games. But I think that's all media.
Yeah, people. There were some people that didn't like seeing that I tweeted, and that's kind of my reaction, and I still feel that way even after digesting this for most of the day. I think the NFL is going to come down with pretty hard on Deshaun Watson. I think they're going to absolutely just, Pro Football Talk reported, what was it, a week ago, that the NFLPA was bracing to defend Deshaun Watson against a quote unquote unprecedented suspension. Now, I don't know what that means because Ridley got a year for gambling. You look at the Zeke stuff, you got Antonio Brown, you got Ben Roethlisberger, you got all kinds of stuff. It's one of those things where let's just say it's a year. All right. Because after that, the Washington Post said, hey, what they're referring to, they reported that it's going to be a year suspension. Was last season not part of his suspension? No. It was not. So there's not going to be any time served, if that makes sense. That was decided between the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson, I believe. Maybe the NFL played a role in it as well. But, I think that they bring the hammer down hard, and you'll probably see a year suspension or something like that. But I don't think that it's what is going to stick. I think they're going to do it with the intent to roll over in the event of an appeal, which will happen. Now, this does a couple things. Let's not forget this is entirely about public relations, right? The league isn't so much concerned with the criminal justice process or civil litigation. That helps them gather their facts and information and evidence in their own independent investigations. But what the league is worried about is the league's image, right? So what that allows them to do is allows them to hand out a suspension, and they won't get any bad press about, not being hard enough on somebody who's been accused of some pretty terrible things. Now, they're not going to say he's guilty or he's not guilty. It's not like that. It's not a trial, but that allows them to save face. All right. For people that are going to judge them for taking something so serious too lightly, because that will happen. And there may still be people that happen. People want a Mike Vick banned for life, right? Over dog fighting. What that also allows to do is that allows the NFLPA to secure a win when the NFLPA assists Deshaun Watson in appealing the suspension and getting it drastically reduced. Okay, so the NFL saves face. Their punishment was severe enough. They feel good about it from a PR perspective. The NFLPA comes in, they save the day. Deshaun Watson gets a reduced suspension, maybe 6 to 8 games, maybe 4 to 6. I'm still not buying the no suspension stuff. I'm also not on the 1.5 year train. And, it is literally all speculation at this point. All of this to me is unprecedented. Ryan, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously that's a a legit thought. I mean, it's very possible that that's what could happen. I'm not convinced that they're going to hammer him yet. I just feel like everything that we've had come out in the media over the last week has just been posturing from both sides. I don't think it's a coincidence that we saw the unprecedented reports and then the NFL Players Association coming out later and saying, listen, if you hammer this guy, we're coming after you on things that you have not taken care of in the past. And I just think that was a lot of media posturing from both sides, a lot of leakage, because I think that the settlement was being discussed in the background. between Watson and the league. And I just think that, the league leaks out and says, hey, listen, we're going to hammer this guy. Next thing you know, the Watson side of the camp leads out, or leaks out to the NFL Players Association that they're going to get involved and, stomp their foot and, come back at the league and say, listen, you didn't punish this person, or you did this and didn't do this. So I think it's just a lot of posturing. That's just my opinion. I mean, I see your point. I feel like it's a legit point that it could very well happen. I'm not 100% confident that the league is going to hammer him just based on their past indiscretions, I guess, lack of a better term.
Yeah, and there's some finger pointing going on here, and one of the big sticking points was, hey, the owners in the NFL aren't being held accountable to the same standards as the players. So even if he did do this, and we're not saying he did or didn't, but even if he did, then you have to take into consideration Robert Kraft and things of that nature, and then you have other scandals going on, the Gruden stuff, the Daniel Snyder stuff. There's so many different things that can be taken into consideration here. With that being said, I don't think that it is a coincidence that it wasn't long after the Houston Texans also got sued that the terms of these settlements are completely confidential. We don't know if Houston and Deshaun settled, maybe together, maybe they split it. We don't know what happened, but Houston got brought in. We'll never know what happened. I don't think we will, because these are going to be under such lock and key. Whatever the terms are, we will not know. Rich says, use the Houston Texans as an example and lay the hammer on the organization as well. So the thing here is, and again, this is tough to do because we'll never know if he's guilty or innocent. We'll have a presumption based on findings from whatever litigation happens, and by virtue of things that don't happen. With that being said, Houston certainly appeared to enable him in a certain way, but it's hard to I don't know. It's really hard to punish a franchise, I think, when there's no certainty as to guilt or innocence. If they enabled something that wasn't criminal or wasn't, there was no wrongdoing, and it turns out that he's innocent or something, which we won't know, then the Houston Texans can't be punished, or they shouldn't be punished. Alternatively, I think the only scenario in which the Texans get punished is if there's some sort of criminal conviction. If there was a criminal conviction eventually, and it was under the Texans' watch or on their dime, then maybe they could be liable in some aspect. And again, I'm not a lawyer.
Right. And I think that's the
Texans need to be punished, fined too, since they essentially gave them the green light with the NDAs.
Right. I think I just think that's the big point is once the Texans got involved, they say that the NFL is about protecting the shield, right? They care about the NFL. They want to protect themselves. I think one rogue player going around and getting quote unquote handies after massages, doesn't necessarily make the NFL look as bad as one of your organizations within the league allowing this guy to do something possibly illegal or not illegal. But let's be honest, it's probably not the first time a team has facilitated some type of hookup for a single young player. And I'm sure the league probably knows that. And I don't think they want their dirty laundry out there. So I said, once the Texans got involved in this lawsuit, that this is going to change things big times, because the NFL is protect the shield only. That's all they care about, their money and the shield. And that's it. So it's a lot different when you have one player doing something versus a franchise being sued for something, in this magnitude. So it's a significant change, and we're going to see. And like you said, we're never going to get the terms. And if you're hearing terms on the internet from random blue check marks that are saying, oh, $150,000 for this person or this person, whatever, they don't know. This is never going to get out. So don't believe those people, please. Don't get wrapped up in the Twitter sphere. It's not something that's going to come out. especially not this quick, if at all, ever.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that it's probably a lot more money than that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to cost him. He's going to pay in a few ways, whether he's guilty or innocent. Rich says he's definitely, or the Texans are definitely complicit. They're complicit in something, whether or not it, they enabled some sort of behavior. We just don't know if it was wrong or not. What they did was they tried to keep it out of their facilities, but they still certainly helped them. A lot of BS going on Twitter. My quote unquote source, oh, stop it. Yeah, that's something you won't hear me and Ryan say. All right. The one that bothers me is I'm hearing. Who are you hearing this from? You're hearing it from your
Right.
buddy, your neighbor, your coworker. It's got to stop. But if the league wants to expand its female viewership, there needs to be a precedent set with this. I agree with that to an extent. I see some sensitivity towards this from female football fans. Believe it or not, though, surprisingly, I see it more from male. And I know the easy thing to say there is, well, you're going to have more males against this because there's more male football fans. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. And really, it is all public relations. So they're definitely going to look at it and say, how bad did this affect us? Now, Ryan, you alluded to the fact that the damage isn't that bad. I disagree a little bit with that, and you can tell me if you think I'm crazy or not. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I do see that this subject has been dominating a news cycle. And normally when something happens, it dominates a news cycle for a few days. If it's really big, maybe a week. If it's really, really, really big, a few weeks. This has been dominating the news cycle for months and months and months. Deshaun this, Deshaun that, the Browns this, the Browns that, the NFL this, the NFL that, the Texans this, the Texans that. It's not just in one market or region. I think it's been, man, it's like a song on the radio that's overplayed, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree.
I don't know.
I think it's probably.
Can you still hear me, Ryan? Am I gone or
Yeah.
I'm okay? I gotcha. You were freezing up. Wasn't sure if it was on my end.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Now you froze on me. Uh-oh. Somebody in the comments, give me a heads up if you guys can still hear me. I got a frozen Craig on my side. Yeah, Craig's gone. No, I definitely don't think it's a, I don't think he's wrong in that it's dominated the news cycle. I wonder if it's a little bit because it's the Browns, a little bit because it's the off season. I wonder if the outrage would have been so bad if the scapegoat of the NFL, the Cleveland Browns, wouldn't have been the team that signed him. And then also, I wonder if it would have been as dominating as if it was during the season. But I mean, either way, it's definitely a big story. It's a big deal. I'm not, downplaying the seriousness of the allegations by any means. But I do think those things play a part in the news cycle. There's a lot of media members that like to poke fun at the Browns. So I think it's easy to bring it back. But if it's a team, somebody different, maybe it wouldn't have been as dominant. But hey, Craig, how are you, buddy? Welcome on back. I'm
back. What did I miss?
Mumbling.
Anything fun? Justin said it's dominating the news because the contract he got. I'm sure you hit some of this stuff while I was gone, but and Rich is saying the same thing. That is a big part of it. I mean, talk about, we were throwing around the word unprecedented earlier. This is truly unprecedented. It's already having ripple effects across the league with reportedly, the contract that Russell Wilson is reportedly chasing, things like that. So, there's so many different angles you can look at this and where people might be upset and why. But I don't know. Ryan, do you think there's a light at the end of the tunnel with this?
I do. I do. I like I said, I wholeheartedly believe that this is a handshake deal between Deshaun and the league, his representatives in the league. I think he's going to play this year. I don't think it's going to be a year-long or 2-year-long suspension. I think this is just proof of it. The way things have fallen in the last week or two, the way the two sides leak things back and forth. They were almost negotiating in the press. So, it's. I think that it's a good thing for the Browns in the long run that this is kind of putting things behind us. And I would suspect that the other 4 individuals that have the cases remaining against him are probably going to be settled as well at some point. I know Busby is saying that they're not going to, but I would assume that those are going to be closed up probably shortly as well. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, we're getting there. The train's started. It's back on the tracks again. And, the light's getting a little closer for us.
Now, some of the media have speculated that the fact that 20 of these 24 or 26 cases, the fact that this many have been settled, it kind of takes that unpaid leave, or I'm sorry, paid leave off the table as far as the commissioner's exempt list. That could certainly be true. What leads you to believe, though, that these other 4 will settle? Do you think that
I
why?
just think
Why do you
it's.
think
I just. I
if
think
they're
it's.
still holding out?
I just think it's inevitable. I'm talking over you. Sorry. I just think it's inevitable. I think they're probably not satisfied with the initial offer. And I think Busby is just, posturing a little bit, and he knows what he's doing. I mean, the guy brought the Texans in, and he knew exactly what he was doing by bringing the Texans in. So he's no slouch at what he does. And, I think he's using the leverage that he has to get the best that he can for those 4 individuals. And I think that, the fact that there was no criminal charges, it just makes sense. That just doesn't, it's going to get settled eventually. It just, to me, it's just the only thing that makes sense.
All right. So, other than this Deshaun Watson stuff, ask us any questions you guys have in the comments. It could be about Deshaun Watson. It could be anything. This time of year, it's a super slow news cycle. So there's not a whole lot going on to talk about. What are you guys interested in talking about? I did post the link in the comments. If you are on YouTube or Facebook, you can click the link in the comments. I will post it again in case it got buried on whatever page you're looking at. You can log on. You can talk to us via video chat or audio chat. And bring something to the table, as we like to say. You can bring a question, a comments, anything like that, a topic. This show is the purpose of this show is to be a roundtable discussion, not just for Ryan and I to have a platform to talk. We want you to come on and talk with us. If you're not comfortable doing that, or you're in an environment that you can't, then you can ask us questions in the comments. So, Rich, great question. Not after today. Interesting that you brought this up. But you will see him twice a year in a Steelers uniform. So, yep, that's where he's at. It's official, black and yellow. Cade York, man, some of these videos going around on social media are really impressive. We are in the helmets and shorts still, so we can't get too excited. But no, it's great. Yeah, Rich, he actually signed with Pittsburgh today, and it was reported. I forget where I saw it, but I forget the details of the deal.
I don't know if the financials were posted or not, but it was relatively.
What's interesting. Go ahead, Ryan.
It just says 1-year deal from everything that I've seen. I don't know if anybody's actually said anything about the money involved yet.
What's interesting, we're talking about Larry Ogunjobi. What's interesting is he's going to share a team and a locker room with the gentleman who he was involved in a brawl with. He was part of the Myles Garrett incident. So Justin, that is Larry Ogunjobi. Sorry, I'm multitasking. Big Kevin Sports, I will send you a link on Twitter. I am actually very curious to get some of your takes on this. That'll certainly be interesting, though. Ryan, you think him and Mason have had a conversation yet?
I don't know, because it wasn't Ogunjobi the one that came out and backed up Miles originally and said that he had said some racial slurs or something like that.
Oh man, this is
I
like
want to
2.5 years ago. I'm struggling to remember
I want
now.
to say that there was one player that came out like almost immediately and was backing up Miles's account of that, but I thought it was Ogunjobi, man, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, it's going to be awkward for sure.
All right. Kevin, check your Twitter for that link. I gotcha. Big Kevin Sports. Looks like he's going to be joining the show. Kevin's got this committed to memory, so he's gonna fill us in as soon as he jumps on. Anything else you guys want to discuss while we're waiting for Kevin to join the show? We did sign. I saw that we signed. Are you a Last Chance You watcher,
Yes.
Ryan? Dakota Allen. I have not watched the show. What can you tell us about Dakota Allen?
Seems like a really good dude overall. Had some hardship, obviously. I want to say he was at Texas Tech is where he finished his career. Played, decently well there from everything that I remember. But I would say probably a training camp body. I don't know if he's actually going to make the team.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens.
He was a 7th round pick by the Rams. I did see that. All right. Aaron Bowen asks, is this a 3-headed monster backfield? Does Johnson get enough volume or situational work that it eats into Hunt and Chubb? I hope so. And by that, I mean, I hope there's a lot of A, garbage time, and B, a lot less mileage on Chubb and Hunt. Love for these guys to each have 1,000-yard seasons, right? And Dearness Johnson to come in and play a role. There's not going to be enough room for everybody, though. But no, listen, I've been saying, and sometimes I argue with fans of other teams, but Nick Chubb could be a 2,000-yard rusher. I am convinced of that. I think that he's just as good, if not better, than Derrick Henry. I don't want him to have that volume, though. I want to have him here longer. I want his shelf life to be elongated. Same with Kareem Hunt. And Kareem Hunt recently said he hopes he's with Nick Chubb for the rest of his career. And hopefully that's here. Hopefully that's not somewhere. Joe Starkey says, I can see them trading Hunt or Johnson. I can see them trading Johnson. I'm not so much on the Kareem Hunt. For what you'd get for him, I just don't see them feeling like it would be enough of a return. I mean, you're going to get what, a 3rd or a 4th round pick for him, maybe, if that. And he's probably a top 10 talent. He's won the rushing title before. He's still a young guy. If you're going to have a timeshare, Hunt and Chubb is what you would want, I would imagine. Kind of reminds me of that D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart duo back in the day. Craig agrees with me and Ryan. Joe, it could happen, though. Dearness Johnson is probably more trade bait than those other two because we have other guys. Skylar, appreciate you joining the show. Appreciate you tuning in. He's a dawgstable.com contributor. With him being a free agent next year, people will pay low. That's true also. So, it's one of those things. And if Hunt, he's already vocalizing the fact that he wants to be wherever Chubb is. So they have a little bit of a brotherhood going on, it appears. Then again, so did OBJ, Landry, and Baker Mayfield. And everybody has a different opinion about that. So sometimes it's just on the surface. I'm not trying to raid on anybody's parade.
I'll fight to the death. I will fight you on Twitter. I will fight you in the backyard. I will fight you behind the bar. Kareem Hunt is not going to get traded from this team. Okay? I'm speaking it into existence. He's going to sign an extremely team-friendly deal. He's going to stay here. He wants to be here. The Browns want him here. He loves being in Ohio, loves being a part of the Browns, and I'm telling you, he is not going anywhere.
I think that Felton would fall victim to a cut or a practice squad spot before we would get rid of Ford. I have a feeling they know what they're getting out of Felton. They don't need the hybrid stuff if they don't want it. We have a special teams ace so long as he doesn't get injured. After watching some tape of Ford in college, honestly, I don't think they're going to get rid of him. I think Ford is more of a long-term move. Felton's already kind of had a chance to show a little bit of what he's got to the front office.
I'm pretty
Unless
sure
Ford
that Felton
disappoints.
has been practicing predominantly a wide receiver too, hasn't he? So
Yeah.
all offseason?
So he should. Or not should, but he could. His question is, do we move Felton to wide receiver so we could keep Ford? So I just don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I don't think that it would be in order to keep Ford if we move Felton to wide receiver. It's because that's where they want him to line up. If that allows us to not have to make a decision in order to keep Ford on the roster, that's obviously a bonus. Ford is just another Chubb, in my opinion. In some ways, if you watch his college tape, he does remind me a little bit of Nick Chubb. I don't think he's going to be quite as much of a beast as Chubb is, and those are big shoes to fill. I think Nick Chubb could be considered the top running back in the NFL. He's surely the best pure runner in football, but he's got a similar style. And Chubb and Hunt aren't going to last forever. They're not going to last forever. What will we see first? A Super Bowl appearance or a dome in Cleveland? Ryan, I'll let you answer this first. Okay, so that is something else that's been going on in the news. Skylar, welcome to the show. How you doing, Skylar?
Good. How are you? How we doing?
Outstanding. Thanks for coming on. All right. So in the news, we've seen reports that the Browns are either going to have a multi-billion-dollar rehab of the current stadium or renovate it. They're going to renovate it. Or B, they're going to build an entirely new stadium. So that has sparked a couple of debates. Number one, should they build or renovate? Number two, should it be publicly funded? Number three, should it have a roof? Ryan, give me your thoughts on this.
Of course, you go with me first. I'm gonna say that we probably would end up with a dome before a Super Bowl appearance. Sorry, Browns fans. Although I'm not even 100% convinced that we're going to get a dome. I think that they want to stay on the lakefront. I'm not convinced that they're going to move the stadium. I could see a significant upgrade to the current stadium, but as much as I want a dome, grass field, dome, retractable roof, whatever, I'm not 100% convinced that they're going to do that. I think it's more likely that we're going to get a ton of renovations for the current stadium.
All right, so I'm going to give my take, and then Skylar, I'll let you give your opinion on this. Everybody's pretty opinionated. I am all for a retractable roof. I'm not sure if that's possible in a renovation, but if we were to build a new stadium, I am all for the retractable roof. I get it. It's Cleveland. It's a football town. We're by the lake. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. I would like to be able to pick and choose when we have the wind and the rain and the cold. Now, there's certain games where it has benefited us. We saw it in Buffalo a couple years ago, that 8-0 game. Do we still have Jamal Lewis at that point? Maybe that was more than a couple years ago. Do you know the game I'm referencing, Ryan?
Oh,
it was
God,
snowing. There was like a foot of snow on the field. It was a slugfest on the road. Skylar, you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember.
My dad watched it. I vividly remember it.
So, that's something where we clearly had an advantage because we had the advantage on the ground and the weather worked and played into us. Then we have games like the Raiders game, 2 years ago, with the rain and the wind, and they beat us, and we missed a bunch of kicks, if I remember correctly. So, something about a retractable roof allows you to expose the field to those elements if it gives you an advantage. If you don't have an advantage, it gives you the option to really just avoid that. So I think that because it gives you the flexibility and you can have the best of both worlds, it makes sense. It also opens up all the same other revenue producing things that could help the city of Cleveland and the venue itself. If you build a new stadium, I think that something they should consider is making it attractive for a Super Bowl. I think that downtown Cleveland could handle it. I know there's some of the mid-market teams or smaller market teams. It's not just how many people you can fit in the stadium. It's can the infrastructure in the city support that kind of event. I think they should gear it towards being a destination. We've had the draft here. I think a Cleveland Super Bowl would be cool, regardless of if we're in it or not. All right, Skylar, what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of with you. I want a retractable roof more than anything. I love and hate when people say the weather. I mean, we've been bad for 20 years. We don't have any advantages, it seems like, realistically. But no, I'm with the retractable roof. Pick and choose your elements you want to play in. And I mean, if you're getting a Los Angeles team in the middle of December, I definitely keep that roof off. But
all right, so here's a question from Craig. Do we make a play for Will Fuller? Skylar, I'll let you take this one first.
I don't see it happening personally. I think they're pretty okay with the receiver room right now. I mean, so far David Bell has looked like a steal in my opinion. Granted, it's against the wind and he doesn't really have that big a competition right now, but the guy doesn't look like he drops anything. And then DPJ is obviously going to make that step with the quote-unquote better quarterback right now. And then Amari Cooper's Amari Cooper, one of the most trustworthy receivers.
Brian, thoughts?
I've been very vocal about it. I still feel like they need another wide receiver. I still think they're going to end up getting somebody eventually. I don't think it's going to be Will Fuller. I think that ship has sailed. I think a lot of the Will Fuller hype came from, I think it was a report from Jordan Schultz originally saying that he might be a package deal with Watson. And that's really all the smoke there really was on that. I just don't see it, but I do think they're going to end up having to add somebody else.
I think it would be an interesting signing if it was, a team-friendly 1-year minimum money deal to where the risk is low as opposed to just getting a camp body off the street. Rich says, go get Julio. I don't know how I feel about this. I have trouble believing his fall was so hard so fast that he doesn't have anything left in the tank. And, Will Fuller is injury prone. A lot of the guys on the market right now are injury prone. OBJ's got knee issues. You have, and I don't know. It doesn't really sound like anything's happening there. Will Fuller, injury issues. Julio Jones, injury issues. But there's something about the idea of Julio having some sort of a resurrection. Like, we don't need him to be 100% of what he was in Atlanta, right? Just like 80%. And if he was on the field at 80% for 80% of the time, that would be obviously an advantage for us. It'd be interesting. Any interest, Ryan, in Julio Jones?
That's an interesting concept. I'll give you that. I mean, I don't have a problem bringing in a veteran. Like I said, I still think they need somebody else. I just want somebody that can stay on the field and catch the ball when it's thrown to them. And as a good example for the younger guys, but I wouldn't hate it. I really wouldn't hate it. I think he's still useful in certain circumstances.
Some folks would have to cool their jets a little bit. I think there would be some excitement. There would be a little unwarranted. Some people might get a little unrealistic with their expectations if we did sign him. But there's certainly a potential that something there could work. It's probably a question of money at this point, right? And it really does go against Andrew Berry's MO, right? As far as going out and getting young guys. I mean, age is such an important thing for Berry. That's got to be a little bit tough. But the same goes for Sue. There is no movement on the Sue front. We've been talking defensive tackle for a month or so now. It appears, though, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are no longer interested in his services. That was reported throughout this past week. So it's Oakland or Cleveland, I believe, as far as what was being reported. The teams that are left in the race in Cleveland had backed off. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Any thoughts on that, Ryan?
Oh God, I want him so bad. Like if
So
I
do
go, I go to sleep and I dream about Sue. Like I just need the guy on this team. This guy, he doesn't miss games. He's reliable. He doesn't, like I say, he doesn't get hurt. He just is a good run stopper. He's able to get pressure up the middle. He's very violent when how he plays. He's a perfect complement on the inside of this line, and I don't know what the holdup is. Give the guy 10 mil a year. I don't care. Get him on this damn team. I want him.
Skylar, any thoughts?
I'm with you. I want him so bad. I've always loved Sue, and I just love the way he plays. He's just that old-fashioned interior defensive lineman that's going to give you his all every play. And yeah, I mean, I don't go to sleep every night. Only a couple nights a week do I dream about him. But
all right, so let's switch right back to wide receiver for a second. Let's play a little bit of game. Let's go. I'm going to give you some either ors, and you tell me which one you would take. Ryan, for each one, you can go first. Skylar, you can go second. Julio Jones or Will Fuller? We'll just start there because we already had that conversation.
Julio Jones.
Skylar?
Julio.
All right, so we'll stick with Julio. Julio or T.Y. Hilton? T.Y. Hilton's available. Ryan?
Julio.
Skylar? All right, so we still got Julio. Julio Jones or Cole Beasley?
Julio.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go Julio.
All right, T.Y. Hilton or Emmanuel Sanders?
Ugh. Emmanuel Sanders?
Yeah. Skylar?
T.Y. I don't know.
All right. T.Y. Hilton or Alan Hearns?
How old is Alan Hearns now?
30.
He has that broken leg.
Probably T.Y.
All right. Deshaun Jackson or Danny Amendola? Neither.
Neither.
It's neither an option.
Right.
Right.
Probably Deshaun Jackson, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So those are essentially the most notable wide receivers that are on the market. You have they're all in the 30s with the exception of Will Fuller, and he's 28. When you start getting into the younger guys, it's a different tier, right? You have Odell Beckham Jr., who's 29, Adam Humphries at 28, D.D. Westbrook at 28. And then you're getting into guys that most of the people that are Browns fans that might be watching the show maybe have never heard of. Chester Rogers, Chris Moore, Marcus Kemp. There's definitely a limited pool of options at wide receiver when it comes to veterans. All right.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, like you said earlier, I think it goes against what Andrew Berry is kind of known for. He's not going to bring in Old Man River just to bring in somebody. He's more of a guy that goes out and looks for a deal on a underperforming guy who's younger, has maybe a couple years left on the contract, that's not getting a lot of playing time that he sees potential in. That's somebody that I could see him going out and trying to get a trade or something like that. Maybe once the training camp starts, but he's not going to just sign some old dude off the side of the street just to have another wide receiver in the room. It's the reps for the younger guys is too precious at this point that he's going to have somebody that he knows is going to contribute or fit in the scheme that they want to run.
So do you think that defense is maybe out? Okay, hold on. We have a Facebook user that is. All right. Expect a discipline announcement on Browns Deshaun Watson to come next week, with some people believing it could be announced as early as this week via MKC. And this is new. I've never gotten somebody this anonymous. Congrats to you, however you posted this. We have no idea who you are.
I feel like I'm being watched. It's weird.
I know, right? But yeah, that's what's being reported. Mary Kay Cabot, she's for the most part right about things, but her speculation isn't necessarily always as dependable as anybody else's. So we have to take that with a grain of salt. It certainly speeds up the process with some of the cases settling. So, Skylar, any thoughts on the Deshaun stuff? You weren't in here when we were talking about that.
I
Mary Kay
don't know
Cabot. Sorry, Skylar. Yeah, we know who MKC is. Go ahead, Skylar.
I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm happy that we're starting to get an end to all this. Like, I'm glad it's almost over and everybody can stop talking about it. But on the other hand, I'm kind of upset. Like, I'm trying to prove my innocence. And I'm just go and settle it. But I do think the NFL played a big part in it and, like, kind of told him he needed to settle it more than anything. But, yeah, I mean, that's where I stand. I'm happy that it's almost done, but I'm mad. Like, come on, man. You got to prove your innocence somehow.
I don't know if I've said this before. I don't think at this point there is a way to completely exonerate him or completely convict him. I mean, even if he was criminally convicted or criminally exonerated, let's say like it got past the settlements and the civil stuff and ultimately criminal charges were filed against him at some point, if something got through, there's OJ was exonerated, right? Nobody believes that OJ didn't do it, right? It's not a be all end all,
right? Well, that's why to me it's a settlement between him and the league, because he was so adamant in clearing his name. He wasn't going to settle. They were going to fight it tooth and nail to the death, but then you get the leaks that come out, and then this comes out, and it just reeks of NFL putting their fist down saying, listen, if you want to play this year and don't want us to push this out, you've got to get rid of these cases. It has to be done with. So it's the smell test isn't there. It doesn't pass the smell test to me. There was outside influence on this for sure.
Here's the unfortunate part. If he would have settled all 26 of the 26 cases today, this probably still wouldn't be over. Watch everything conclude, a punishment be handed out, an appeal to happen, a suspension to be reduced. All the cases are settled. Everything looks like we're in the clear. Something's going to pop up. I just have a bad feeling about that. This is going to haunt us for his entire career. At least we haven't had any reports of any poor behavior since joining the team. That would be far more damaging if under this spotlight. Do you think this guy would have, if he was doing something bad, do you think he'd have the balls to do it while being under this type of a microscope?
I hope not.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I hope not. Hopefully he didn't do anything at all. Again, it's a fine line. We have to somehow. It's really hard to not give the benefit of a doubt to an accuser, but at the same time, he's innocent until proven guilty. So there's got to be a line there. Not everybody agrees with that. I'm sure they have lots of posters of Josh Gordon around him. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. You mentioned something I don't necessarily agree with. You'd said that you think there's going to be an appeal. I don't think there's going to be an appeal. I wouldn't be shocked to see something come out that's under 10 games and him release a statement saying that he's happy with the league's decision, that he's not going to, fight it. Because if he does that, then it was a handshake deal between him and the league. If he comes out and says that he supports their decision and he's going to feel like he gets off, with less than 10 games, I think if it's less than 10 games, you will not see an appeal. I think you're more likely to see a letter come out from his camp saying that he's satisfied. He's not going to appeal anything. He's appreciative that it's behind him and so.
He wants to get past it.
Yep.
Something like that. And I'm with you. I think an appeal will come if it's unprecedented. But I think you're right. If it's not unprecedented, then he may just say, listen, just let's get this over with. Yeah. Let's get this over with, and hopefully nothing else happens. Hopefully he doesn't have too much time on his hands. All right. Big Kevin Big Kevin Sports is ready to go. How's it going, Big Kevin?
The dude coming in with the shades. Holy moly.
Hi, lads. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. How are you doing?
If I was any better, it'd be a sin. You know that.
All right, and you do create content, and let us know what you do, where people can find you, and what you do.
Sure. You can find me across all social media at Big Kevin Sports. If you hear that breathing in the background, that's my dog Ella. It's really hot out today. And also, you can find me writing articles on NEO Sports Insider, Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders. Write about all sports in Northeast Ohio. And Big Kevin Sports across all social media. I'm a sports journalist, and I particularly love my brownies. So, heard you guys talking. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Welcome on, man.
absolutely. Haven't been able to poach him away from NEO insiders, but all right, Kevin.
Oh,
we've
believe me,
had some discussions. What's
From
that?
what's been going on, it might be happening sooner than later.
Okay. All right. Hopefully we'll see you as a regular soon. But all right. So you heard our discussion earlier. What do you make of the settlements?
You know what? It's a lot of what we see today, and it's not just Cleveland media. It's media across, on a national platform. It's everything has to happen right now. So people put out there, and it leads them to have to make this decision or come to their own conclusion through the writer that this is the situation that's going on. But the only people that know that non-disclosure, it's between Deshaun Watson and the woman who accused him. 20 of the 24, I think it was, there was a pay settlement. We don't know the amount. Anyone that's saying they know the amount, they can't. Legally, they can't know. But, this has been going on. And with Deshaun, I think it was just like over the course. Sorry, this mic is so like amped up. It's like a professional mic, but I'll turn my ringer off. But like all the women that have been going through this the past year or 2 years, and people are saying like, well, why is he paying them? Why is he? Oh, he must be guilty. But it went to court and he was innocent. It's innocent until proven guilty. And the payouts, from my perspective, is this is the X amount of money that these women that had this experience with Deshaun and what they've been going to. This is kind of like a here's for the expenses that you've had to pay. I don't think nothing happened, obviously, with Deshaun Watson. It's not like, it's not like these women just made it up out of nowhere. They obviously had some sort of interaction, and he did a payment to each of them, and that's the day of it gets released to the media. So that shows, and people think, oh, now he's guilty when he just made a huge settlement payment to 20 of the 24 million. He's the piece of garbage. He's the bad person. He's the, it just, at the same time, like you guys are saying it, both sides, if he did do it and he's throwing chump change, it's like either way, you're in this situation, you can't win. And I agree with you guys. I thought that last year was part of the suspension, and seeing that it's not, I think this, for the most part, whatever does end up happening, the Texans are a big time factor into this. The Browns just acquired him through trade and then signing the contract and stuff. So Browns aren't going to lose picks. They're not going to lose. Watson has a bit, but he won a playoff game in Houston with the now retired coach Romeo Crennel. I don't know if you guys remember that. That had to be either 2 or 3 seasons ago. They came back and won. But it's interesting how this is all going to play out. Because again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know we know that the NFL branding, and we know the pink jerseys, the pink towels, and they. But then again, we've seen incidences where suspensions are laid out, and we actually see live footage of the incident. But then again, we're in
Ray
a different.
Rice,
Ray Rice.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, it can't. Is it a worse charge than Mike? It might be just the climate we're living in. So it's out of our hands right now. That's the thing that it's just. I mean, it's good to speculate, but there's nothing more that we can do other than just wait. Who do you guys think, as of right now, if Watson's out for the year, do you think Kevin Stefanski has the tools to make this offense more of a different style that complements the backup quarterbacks that we have right now?
So I'll go first. I think that if Deshaun Watson is out this year for a significant part of the year, I don't think the quarterback is on our roster. At least not for certain. At a minimum, I think there would be somebody brought in for competition with Jacoby Brissett. Ryan and I have very different opinions of Jacoby Brissett. I think he is at best a career number 2. He's designed to come off the bench and keep you competitive for maybe 1 or 2 games, or to fill in the event of injury. Ryan thinks that he's efficient enough and talented enough to carry us through a 8-10 game suspension. So the basis of the difference between what I'm saying and what Ryan's about to say is that. Personally, I don't know if Stefanski has the tools. Yes, he has the tools to do the best he can with what he has, but I don't think that they will just be like, all right, Jacoby, you're up. Let's go. 10 games, 12 games, whatever. 6 games, sure. And at that point, I'm like, all right, waiting for next year. So, Ryan, you're going to say something. What's that?
You think without Watson, and the people that they have around as of right now, with that line, with the rushing attack, with a completely healthy secondary, because you have to remember when players like it slipped my mind because my dog's breathing so loud right next to me every time I'm talking on here. Sorry about that, guys. But
I can't even hear it.
Oh, really? Maybe it's just my headphones. Nope. Oh, great. Oh, okay. It's just me. Imagine if there wasn't a dog here and I'm just nuts.
You could be
with the Browns backup quarterback last year. That his name slips my mind. What?
Case Keenum.
That's it, Keenum. When he would come in, the games we wouldn't have Hunt, we wouldn't have Chubb, we'd be missing 3 wide receivers at a time. We would have a tight end out. Hooper would drop it every other play. There's so many factors now going in that I think that with a healthy team, I don't think in Stefanski's system necessarily it matters that much who the QB is, as long as they do not force it and do not turn it over.
I don't even, man, that's a tough one. Ryan, I'll let you, I know you have something to say. You're waiting for your rebuttal, so I'll let you just go ahead and take it from here.
You're such a hater, man. You're a Brissett hater.
I'm a hater?
Yeah, bro. No, it's. I think he's just efficient enough with the ball. That's my thing with him. I think he's efficient enough that he can keep you in contention. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to take us deep into the playoffs or even into the playoffs. I don't think so. Come on. I mean, let's be honest. I think they would struggle pretty bad without Watson on this team. There's a significant drop off from Watson to Brissett. That being said, I think that Brissett is efficient. I think he doesn't turn the ball over. I think he's going to make the right pass 9 times out of 10. So, it comes down to read. It comes down to, between the head and, or what's between the ears. And, if it's a 10, 12 game suspension, he's going to keep you in contention for most of the season. Maybe when you get into that hard stretch run, it's probably going to teeter off a little bit. But I don't think that he's just going to flop and we're all going to be like, oh, you know, he's not going to start the season off as 0-6 for us. I don't see that. I think he's better than that. But you know, if it's less than 10 games, I think he's completely capable of navigating us through the suspension. And he's an upgrade from Keenum. So I don't necessarily agree with that they're going to bring somebody else in, but I think he may surprise some people.
I'm not convinced that he's an upgrade over Keenum. I think that, you know, I really would have liked to have seen somebody else sign for a backup role. I'd be more comfortable with a guy like Tyrod Taylor than Jacoby Brissett. You know, there's some guys, and listen, I get the argument. He's thrown X amount of touchdowns and only X amount of interceptions. His TD to interception ratio is outstanding. He's thrown for a certain number of yards and, you know, all that. There's a reason he hasn't been featured as a starter yet, without, you know, an injury. You know, he was in New England, Indianapolis, and Miami. You know, I don't know. He's not a commodity by any means. He's not a commodity. Nobody is saying, you know, nobody is scared of Jacoby Brissett. Can he do enough to get it done? Like Ryan's saying, maybe. I'm just not nearly as high on him as Ryan. So,
yeah, I can see both sides to what you guys are saying. I can see that. And it seems like whatever reason, whatever team he's on, it seems like whoever the quarterback is at the time, exception of the Dolphins, the quarterback just vanishes. If you notice that, the Colts with
Luck.
oh God, what was his name? The guy who just what was his name?
Andrew Luck.
Yeah, Andrew Luck just stopped playing, and then he had like it's not. I mean, it's not the same, but like with his ex teams, it's like, all right, our quarterback's gone. Good luck. It's on you now. We know we signed you to possibly being just like a backup as is, even with the Browns before they knew about it. That the accusations and everything was going to keep moving forward, and there's going to be new ones. And they didn't do enough homework, obviously, through the entire front office. It's like wherever Jacoby goes, it seems like the organization starts to like just he's not Fitzmagic.
Well, I think in fairness to Jacoby as well, most of the places that he's played at, he's had a pretty decent quarterback in front of him, or a quarterback that the team has significantly invested in. So, I mean, his situations have been kind of crappy for somebody wanting to be a starter. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a perennial starter in the NFL. I agree with you, Craig. I think he's a commodity. He's not a commodity. I think he's a career backup kind of guy. But his situations haven't necessarily been the most fruitful for his career in the teams that he has been with. But, you know, it's going to be interesting. I still say he's going to surprise some people, baby.
Yeah.
God, this would have been the year to have one of those Josh McCowns or Brian Hoyers, man.
Yeah.
It's like to both your points, it's like he's not one of the top 32. And that's obvious. He's not the 32 guys that should be starting in the league. Now it's a little, even after that, 32 to 40, he's not in that range. Like what Craig's saying is we don't have like this starter that's going to be able to be this leader that's going to get us through this period of time. We need Watson. It's Watson is, I mean, that's the reason why the quarterback position is so important in the NFL. So we are going to see a huge drop off. And I just hope that Stefanski can have the play calls that work best with him, because it's a different QB that we're looking at now compared to our two quarterbacks that played last year. It's a very different type of system.
He's really going to need to do an early 2000s Ravens type deal. He's going to need a top 5 defense. They're going to have to lean on that defense. They're going to have to pound the ball 25, 30 times a game minimum, and they're going to have to control the clock and not turn the ball over. You know, the unfortunate part of this is it's going to be a struggle even if we do have a top 5 defense. This AFC is so loaded this year. It's just, it's going to be so brutal. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be disheartening. And you know what? That goes to, even if Deshaun Watson is playing quarterback, it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be, there's going to be games where we're like, what the hell, man? Like, why? It's, we're going to have that. Hopefully the fans give Watson from a football perspective a little bit of a leeway, because I'm tired of the, never mind.
Negativity surrounding this. Yeah, the doomsday type feeling that it's over.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I can't wait to be in the stadium the first game that he comes out of the tunnel, because I'm telling you what, that place is going to be electric, dude.
It's going to be insane.
It's going to be nuts.
Everyone's going to be barking at the here we go. Hoo, hoo.
You think he's going to be more celebrated than booed? I'm asking.
For sure.
Yes,
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, the people that are in the stadium are in the stadium to watch the team win, for sure.
When he comes on that field, it's going to be electric, kind of like, they're not even, not the same situation, not anything like it. I think it's going to be like that, like feeling of, wow, look at this, compared to like when they chanted Brady, and Brady came in, or when like Johnny Manziel was getting those huge games and huge wins, even though all his, it's not even comparable. Okay. But I'm saying like that electricity in the stadium, like, oh, we had no wins and then one win. Let's go. We can do this. Like, it's just so like, or when that defensive tackle from Ashland blocked that field goal to make that embarrassed San Diego Chargers so bad they had to move to LA. Like that kind of situation, like, Black, we won. Yeah. I'm just, sure. I'm pumped for it. And, and then stadium, with it being like $1 billion, are they gonna construct it on the lake? Is that what's going on? Why not just edit the stadium? We've seen like the little changes that he's made to it. We've seen the rebranding and everything, and obviously from a logo standpoint, from the Dog Pound standpoint, we've seen the logo rebranding. I just don't. What's the timeline for this? And I'm not sure if you guys talked about it, because I was here sweating looking for all my equipment and stuff. But what do you guys think about the proposition that the stadium can be moved to a different location? And instead of it being on the, like, I don't even know what like the what they're throwing out there as a possible place of location.
They're talking about putting it pretty much right next door, right?
Yeah. Ultimately, that's what the Browns came out and said, that they're not looking to move the stadium. They want it to be on the lakefront. They want to build around the lakefront. They want to add things there. So I would be shocked if they built somewhere else, to be honest. I just think that it's, like I said earlier, I think it will be renovations to the current stadium. I don't know. But
how would you guys like if, like, the lower area, that it seems like for a lot of teams that we play against, it's more accessible. Whereas the Dog Pound, the way it's built now, you have to take a huge leap of faith. Do you think they'll have the fans closer, like, into the action? Because the stadium was originally designed in 99 or 98 by an owner who was more, Randy Lerner, more had an expertise on soccer clubs or football clubs over in England. And while he was the owner of us, his team got relegated into a lower division and he went bankrupt. So do you think that one of the renovations is going to be a better atmosphere for the fans in terms of being closer, like even moving the stands in, like closer to the action? Because when you're looking at the TV and the games going on throughout it, or even me, I've been a season ticket holder for 5 years in the Dog Pound. I think the stadium, compared to other stadiums, it seems like we're a little bit further back from the action, and for good reason. Bottle gauge, all that stuff that's happened, unfortunate events. But I feel like with this renovation, it's an opportunity to set up an atmosphere where people don't have to like stay in the Muni lot and just keep drinking and have their own portable TVs. They can have like a setup area, like a bar that's on the property, kind of similar to like when we were watching the 2016 Cavs and they had that big screen that was outside, kind of like that. But they can set up, like, if you guys pay attention to like what the Columbus Crew did, switching from the old Crew Stadium to the brand new facilities. I mean, they have areas on there where it's like air conditioned. You can have like 500 people in there. It's relaxing. There's food all on displays, and it's not like up in like a food like Terrence type area, but it's around the stadium. It's all the events, and you can implement the training camp, a separate field, like the Crew did, closer to downtown instead of relying on Berea, even though I'm loyal and love Berea. The Berea camp, obviously. I don't think they would go that far, especially with the new things they're putting into it now for the new fan atmosphere. I don't think they'll go as far as that, but it's really exciting for like it's something that like I wake up and it's like, okay, we're not talking about possible, the worst thing that can ever happen to people and everyone's panicking and everyone's pointing fingers. It's like, oh, stadium renovations, like something to finally be happy about. And with the way the Guardians are playing, it's like, thank God. It's like, oh my God, we were like 5 games under 500. It's like, okay, these are some good things, but every day it seems to start stacking up. Oh, we paid them. He's guilty. What a piece of garbage.
Did you see? Did you see the new premium tailgating that they were trying to sell on Twitter? They were basically little mini glass shipping containers with a bar and private area for up to like 20, 25 people. I mean, I don't know what the prices were. I heard there was people on social media commenting they inquired and the prices were like 15, 20, 25,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, we have one of the best attendance records of any team somehow, with our fan base. It wouldn't hurt them to put more seats in from a business perspective. And at the end of the day, they're there to make money. That's really what they care about. But to upgrade some of the amenities, some of the game day experience stuff would be good, but definitely look for them a way to find a way to get more tickets sold. They're in no danger of running out of people that want to buy Cleveland Browns tickets.
No.
So it's one of those things where, and if they plan on being competitive moving forward, and obviously they do, then that will only increase the demand. So, and it's something we as fans should want too, from a business perspective. The more people that want tickets, the higher the demand is. There's a fixed supply. There's only so many they can sell, which means ticket prices go up. The more people they can fit in that area. Ryan, what?
I don't want ticket prices to go up. I already paid too much for.
That's what I'm saying. They need to add seats. They need to add seats because as the demand goes up, the supply is fixed, right? They can't just pull seats out of thin air. So, they do have a lot of interesting combinations. Bring back the barking lots. Janet, thanks for tuning into the show. All right. That is going to be it for today. Sorry to cut short. Yes, Ryan, go ahead.
I want to answer Rich's question real quick. He got on there who we would prefer, Brissett or Tyler Huntley. In that situation, I would take Huntley because he's younger. I think he's more electric on the feet. But with Huntley, you're going to have to deal with growing pains. He's going to make bad decisions because he's younger versus Brissett, who's probably going to make better decisions for you, but is not as athletic and doesn't have as much pop for you.
He was so impressive for the Ravens, filling in for Lamar Jackson. Huntley. And I don't know if that's something that was going to be sustainable, but like at times you forgot whether or not you were watching Lamar or Huntley. There is going to be growing pains, and he's probably a more raw talent. And, you're going to deal with some of the Deshaun Kaiser boneheaded stuff. And, you're going to have to deal with that, but the ceiling's higher. And will people stop talking about Brissett being a mobile quarterback, please? Brissett is not a mobile quarterback. No. Stop it. If you are on Twitter or Facebook or wherever talking about Brissett having flexibility in the pocket because he can run, stop it. Stop it.
He's as mobile as Baker. Baker doing like the rollout, and then he dives head first for the first down, and then his teammates drop the ball and the game's over, and we lose by 7 to Pittsburgh. It doesn't matter. The mobile quarterback doesn't matter anymore. Only when it matters is like you said, like that Ravens offense and how it's designed with Harbaugh.
It's by design.
Yeah, and it's by design. We can't just all of a sudden do a read option like we're in college, you know. It's not going to work out good. And then we lose that quarterback. Now we're to 3. But I agree with you, Huntley. There were certain games last year when the Ravens score would go by the ticker because I refuse to watch them because, you know, they're not my Brownies. But I'd see I'm like, they won? They don't even have their quarterback. I remember a lot. And with that, with even when they had him last year, guess what? They still ended up in last place. So what does that tell you? You know,
there's a lot of Ravens fans out there that are frustrated that Lamar doesn't have his deal, and they're pulling the whole, why don't we just keep Huntley and avoid spending the money? So that says something too, because Lamar's their guy, right? MVP. But all right, Kevin, appreciate you joining the show. Skylar, appreciate you joining. Hopefully we'll see you guys again. Ryan, that is it. Any closing words?
Nope. I love you, Brownies. Keep your heads up. Stay strong. We're going to be all right. And I'll see you next Tuesday.
All right. Outstanding. This is the Dawgs Table. We are brought to you by Labatt Blue Light and Remax Edge Realty, the JC Group. We're a Cleveland Browns roundtable discussion show. We are part of Team Big Play. You can find us everywhere Big Play is found. Thanks for everybody that tuned into the show. Catch us next week on Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. And we will see you then. Until next time, go Browns.
Go Browns.